Hello, everyone. This is Daryl Andrews, Coach D, and I'm honored to be here to recognize the Harriett Tubman Bicentennial via the Harriett Tubman Memorial AME Zion Church and its pastor, Reverend Paris Price, and Brother Darren Price, two lifelong friends. I'm also a proud native of the Cuse, Syracuse, and so glad to see that this is taking place in Auburn, New York, which is not too far from my hometown. We're also truly blessed to have a young lady here today that represents the future as it relates to the legacy of Harriet Tubman, and that is Sophia Andrews. And so let me introduce Sophia to you. Sophia is a junior at American University, a global scholar in their International Studies Department. She is the founder of Ngoma Kenya, which you will talk about in a moment. She's also an Ashoka Young Changemaker, which you will also talk about. And more recently, she's an in-demand speaker at conferences and at conferences on youth innovation and dream casting.
Mhm.
And most importantly, she is my second oldest child, who I am extremely proud. Welcome, Sophia. Hello. Before we discuss the impact of Miss Tubman, tell us about yourself and what you're currently involved with Ngoma Kenya and maybe beyond.
Yes, so I founded Ngoma Kenya, which is a 501c3 organization located in Kenya, where we focus on arts education, youth empowerment, and girls' rights. And some of the things that we do in Kenya are arts classes. We partner with orphanages, children's homes, rescue centers, churches, schools to offer our services. We also partner with local artists, local young artists in the community. We hire them to go in and teach these art classes, and we do sort of an art therapy program for the kids because a lot of the children have been through so much. And so we want to utilize the arts to just give them a place to de-stress, to express themselves. I know that not every kid is going to grow up to become a professional ballet dancer or musician, but I understand that the arts can impact them right now. And so that's why a lot of our classes are centered around music and dance and the arts to allow them the space to just creatively express themselves and sort of realize their full potential. And another program that we do is called Stand By Her. That's a program that is focused on menstrual equality and period poverty in Kenya. And we go out a few times a month to work with girls in Kenya, and we focus on menstrual health and hygiene. We bring in really powerful women in the community to come talk to and mentor them. We also utilize dance and music in a lot of those sessions. And so our overall focus is to just allow children the space to express themselves through the arts and make the arts just a more integrated into the society, not just in Kenya, but around the world. And so I'm really excited that we're going on our 5th year. I think this year is our 5-year anniversary of Ngoma Kenya, which was really exciting. And so it's just really cool to see, some of the work that we get to do. And everyone on our team, it's a youth-led team. And so everyone on the ground in Kenya, from our volunteers to our art teachers, we also have a youth advisory committee comprised of young people in the United States and in Kenya. I have such a great team. I'm really grateful that I have such wonderful young people that I work well with and that I can trust well, that are able to run things since I'm here in the United States and a full-time college student. I'm a junior at American University here in Washington, D.C., majoring in international studies. And so I'm really grateful that we have such a wonderful team that while I'm working on classes and working on other stuff around the organization, they can be running things in person and on the ground. I'm also an Ashoka Young Changemaker. Ashoka is the leading social entrepreneurship organization that focuses on everyone a changemaker and focusing on creating a world where everyone is sort of harnessing their change-making potential to create a difference in our world. And I joined Ashoka back in 2017, I believe, when they launched their first cohort of Ashoka Young Changemakers, where is a program of just young people, young social entrepreneurs who run organizations that are involved with activism and change making. And we all believe in creating a world where everyone can sort of harness their change making potential. The Ashoka Young Changemaker program started in the US in 2017, but there's also programs in Nigeria and Brazil and Indonesia and all over the world. And so it's just a really cool program that I get to be part of and work with other really cool young people. And I'm also a dancer and performing artist, part of the dance team here at American University, doing a few other artsy, fun performing arts things here on campus as well.
Yes, and I'll tell you something. I mean, it's always amazing to hear you share that. I heard the story before, but it's great to hear it. It's just amazing to see what you're doing with your life. And but there's something that you said I want to kind of expound on a little bit more, and is that you talked about just the passion that you have to do this work, and what a lot of people don't realize when it comes to Harriet Tubman, she was had a passion, and she was also young. You know what I mean? And you started doing this work at 14, correct? Which is amazing when you think about that. What would you say was the thing that kind of at 14 years old that's kind of encouraged you to kind of go down this pathway? Because most 14-year-olds aren't thinking about doing stuff like this. What were you thinking at that age that caused you to want to do something of this nature?
I think for me, it really started before I even went to Kenya and got to, work with the kids that I met and create my organization. I was part of a performing arts group called the Imagination Players. I started doing that at 7 years old, where we would go out into the community, to nursing homes, hospitals, preschools, and we would sing and we would dance and have this big, large repertoire of songs. And I just saw, sort of the joy and the smiles that would spread on people's faces after they'd watch us perform. And I think it helped me to see I can do something that I love to do, dance, singing, things I'm already doing, and I can sort of combine that with a way to bring joy into other people's lives. And so I think that sort of allowed me to see there's so many things going on in our world, so many things going on that I can potentially have an impact on, but using something that also makes me happy in a way. And so I think when I got to Kenya at 14 years old and I saw that the kids also love dance and they love music, and I thought, okay, I also love to do this. So how can we target deeper systemic issues using dance and using music? And that's kind of what we do with our art therapy and with our menstrual health programs. But the idea behind it was, how can I sort of use something that I'm already passionate about, something that I wake up in the morning thinking about and love doing, and use that to sort of make a difference in the world and sort of start to create small change. And so, I think going to Kenya and realizing that I could use that passion and that love of music and the arts to also help children in a way, the two and two just worked really well together.
And it's amazing. And I really want you to share that because there's a lot of young people that's going to be watching this, and it shows that even at a young age, you can make a difference. Because we often hear of young people, you're too young, and Harriet Tubman was young, you were young, and many other people were young, but they still used their lives to make a difference, which is amazing. So thanks for sharing that. But when you think of the life and legacy of Miss Tubman, what does it mean to you personally? I don't want to share what it means to me personally. We'll be here for an hour, but what does it mean to you personally? Because she's obviously meant a lot to so many of us.
Yes, I would say she's also meant so much to me. I remember first learning about her when growing up and learning about her in school. And, as I look back on that and think about her legacy and what that means to not just me, but so many other young people today, I think I can relate to her on a few different levels. She's young and she's female. But I think something in her story that, really inspires me and makes me really hopeful for the future is the story and just of her perseverance and just the idea just to keep going and to keep pushing. And she set goals, she set objectives, and even though there was people around her that sort of doubted those or thought that maybe that wasn't possible, or the things that she wanted to do wouldn't be possible, she didn't let that stop her. Her goals were always obtainable, and even if they were these big huge things, she always knew that she could achieve them. And so she also I think never shied away from failure too. I think that's something that's really easy to do, is to be afraid and to want to shrink down and to think that I can't do this because what will this person say, or what'll it look like if I fail, or if I don't do this X, Y, and Z well. And I think that's a hard mindset to have, because you want to make sure that even though it's okay to be afraid of things, it's okay, that's natural and that's healthy and that's human, but you can't let those fears stop you. And I think that's something that I really pull from her story, is that there were so many things that she was doing, and something at the time that was life or death, but she didn't let that stop her, and she kept going and taking enslaved people to freedom. And she also just never really tolerated failure. There would be times when people wanted to quit, wanted to go back, but she knew that that just wasn't an option. And so she just kept pushing. And I think that's something that's really important, and just really interesting to focus on her story. And that even though you might be afraid, I might be scared, I can't let that fear stop me from pushing towards what it is I have in mind, and the goals and the objectives that I've set for myself and for my life. I have to keep pushing towards those things. And I think something that's also interesting, about her and her story is what she did, afterwards. She ended up joining and being part of the Civil War. She raised funds to aid freedmen. She cared for her parents. She ended up joining Susan B. Anthony and other, civil rights, or sorry, and other, activists at the time. And so there's so much that she did. And I think it's just really important to not just look at, even though that one piece of her life, leading enslaved people to freedom was so powerful and so impactful. And, why, we're able to do so many things that we can do today. It's because of her. But it's also important to look at the whole picture and look at everything and every action and every thing that she did in her life, because it's all, when you look at it all together, it's just so powerful and so impactful. And so I just get the story, and I get the sense of just keep going and to just keep persevering no matter the odds you face, as just a big part of her legacy, and something that I think the next generation can continue to keep with us, as we grow up and as we continue on with things in our lives.
I love it, Sophia. Great. I mean, what a great kind of analysis of her life, and also looking at the totality of it. And I often think about a quote by a speaker I've gotten a chance to interact with many times, Les Brown, when he says, "You can't shrink into greatness." And a lot of times we shrink because of other people, their opinions of us. But when you look at great people who've done great things, they never allowed the opinion of others to shape who they are. They did it anyway. And I just want to say one thing. It's not about me, but I just want to share this one quote that I say a lot. And it's not, I can't control what a person will say or do, but I can control my response to it. And so when you're a young person thinking about the legacy of Harriet Tubman, she didn't worry or concern herself too much about other people. She knew she had a job to do, an assignment, and the other people just had to come along and just deal with it. So um, last thought here is, what advice would you give to young people relating to going after their dreams? Considering that they're standing on the shoulders of giants like Miss Tubman and many others who made sacrifices for us to be where we are today. What advice would you give as a young person, to young people, knowing that we have some shoulders we're standing on?
Yes, I would say just to understand and continue to honor their legacy. Read about them, read their stories, go back and, look at the history books, and go to the library and pick up a book. Or, nowadays we have technology, so easy. You can just access everything with one Google search. Read their stories and learn from them, because I feel like there's so much that, we could dissect and we can take away from, the story of Harriet Tubman and so many other, leaders. But I think it's just important to understand their stories, so that way going forward, we can continue to honor their legacy and to make a difference in our world, and to sort of honor and respect all that they were able to do for us. That way we can be where we are today and to continue to go further. And so I think it's really important that, like I pulled from Harriet Tubman's story, not being afraid of failure. Don't allow the opinions of other people to sort of shape or be projected onto what you have in store for your life. If it's something you're passionate about, if it's something that is going to make a difference, don't be afraid to do that, even though it might not always go well. There might be challenges. Those are important. Those are important moments to go through in life, because it allows you to learn, it allows you to grow, and growth is so important. And so I just think just continuing to be yourself, be unique, because the world, needs you. There's only one of you, and, the world needs you. It needs your voice. It needs your story to be told. But also just don't be afraid to go out and make a difference, because we need young people that are the future change makers and, leaders of our generation that are going to make a difference in our world. Change starts with you, and it's important that you get up, you wake up, and you start your day, and you get into what you're passionate about and what you want to do to make a difference in our world. You don't have to wait till tomorrow. You can start right now. You can start in this very moment of change making and leadership, and what it is that you want to, what issues and problems do you see in our world, and how are you going to be the person to address them and fix them, because it's not going to get changed unless you're the person to do it. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much all I'd have to say.
Well, listen, Sophia, I'm just, if I was a young person, which I'm not, but even as an older person, I'm moved by what you shared today. And so, on behalf of the Harriet Tubman Memorial AME Zion Church, the celebration of Harriet Tubman Bicentennial this day, thank you for your words. Thank you for being a young leader. That's a very positive example. And thank you for taking the time to do this, Sophia. Appreciate it.
Of course.
Have a good day.